morning everyone, it is Bridget here from Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, wishing you a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Whatever it is you may be doing, I hope you are well and I hope you are safe. Thank you for joining me on this episode of our popular but healthy series, where we're going to be doing today a wonderful gluten-free, grain-free, dairy-free and sugar-free banana bread. And I'm calling it the Bondi banana bread, and let me tell you why. The reason I'm calling it the Bondi banana bread, for anyone who's never been to Bondi Beach, so for all our international, outside of Australia watchers and viewers, Bondi Beach is the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful beaches in Sydney. Absolutely gorgeous beachside suburb in the eastern part of Sydney. Very popular with surfers, with swimmers, with sunbathers, just a really popular beach. And the very first time I went to Bondi Beach many years ago, I'm thinking well over 20 years ago, maybe even 25 years ago, I had my first ever slice of banana bread sitting in a Bondi cafe, as you do, having my very first slice of banana bread toasted. And it was a revelation to me. I'd never had it before. I always knew bananas to come in cakes, but here I was getting served this amazing toasted slice of banana cake, but in bread form. Mind blown. So every time I have banana bread, I'm always reminded of that fateful moment on Bondi Beach where I had my first toasted slice of banana bread. And this is not the first time I've made banana bread. I have made you guys a banana bread before, but this is an even healthier version, because what is the best thing about life is we always learn new techniques. And I've learned a new technique to give you not just a gluten-free version, but a grain-free version as well. So I've taken out all the gluten-free flour blend, and we're going to do a grain-free version, a sugar-free version, a dairy-free version, and of course a gluten-free version today. So let's get into the Bondi banana bread. Come on down to my bench. It's an easy one. Don't blink. You might miss the recipe. It is pretty easy, but it's fabulous. It's so Bondi. Come on down to the bench. Let's get into it. Now, by the way, just to let you know, I'm on my own today. Got the house to myself. Time to party. So if I don't get to your questions, I apologize in advance. So here we go. Easy recipe. So the first thing, of course, we need to bear in mind is, what would banana bread be without bananas? Notice how yucky my bananas look. Really important that you actually get some bananas. And this is the best thing about banana bread. Obviously, it's a way to use up bananas that may have gone a little bit past how you like to eat them, which is a bit firmer. But you can also, of course, purchase bananas quite cheaply that are browned, and then I leave them to go brown even longer. So these bananas have been sitting on our bench for probably about 5 or 6 days, and even still, they could probably go a bit browner. Obviously, I've taken the skin off, really important. And what you want to do to get a good, we're making one loaf, by the way. What you want to do to get, the sweeter the bread is by how ripe your bananas are. So into my bowl here, I'm going to be putting about 300 grams, which is about 10.5 ounces of banana flesh. So nice ripe bananas. I'm just weighing it off just to make sure. 288, yeah, pretty good. I'm happy with that. 288 grams, so around about 300 grams, which is, counting my bananas, it's about 2.5 to 3 medium-sized bananas. So that's what you're after in this recipe. So those go on first. I'm also going to be adding in the non-dairy milk I'm using today is coconut milk, but of course you could use hemp, you could use oat, you could use almond, completely up to you. I like coconut milk, as you know, and banana and coconut is a flavor that goes really well together. So for me, it makes heaps of sense. So 100 mils or 3.5 ounces of our wonderful non-dairy milk goes in there. Looking pretty creamy. Love that as well. I'm pretty much doing the wet ingredients first. So the other wet ingredients we need, I've got a couple of large eggs. Just crack them in. This is such an easy recipe. You literally just need one bowl. One bowl and you are good to go. So 2 eggs go in there. And the last liquid ingredient is just a little bit of apple cider vinegar. 1 teaspoon of ACV goes in there as well. That's going to help to activate the baking soda and baking powder that we put in later on. So now that we're at this stage, I'm going to take up, I mean, you could mash it with a fork, absolutely, or not. Why not do this, right? Yeah. Bit of a blend. Helps the bananas to get really, you know, get through the bread, which is nice. We want the flavour to go right throughout the bread. That's all you need to do. Nice and simple. But like I said, you could mash that by hand quite easily, or with a heavy whisk would work as well. Let's add the dry ingredients now. So I said this is a grain-free version. So I'm going to be using some nut flour, almond flour, but you can of course use whatever nut or seed flour you like. So I'm using almond because the flavor is very mild, but you could use walnut flour, you could use make your own hazelnut flour, pecan flour, you name it, you can use it. You can also probably even try it with sunflower seed flour as well. See how that goes. So we're going to add in the flour, and I'm adding in 200 grams, which is 7 ounces of our, whatever your flour of choice is. But I do like it with the almond because once again, it's a flavor that really works well with bananas. And that's the idea, right? We want to mix flavors that work really well with bananas. So that is 200 grams or 7 ounces of our flour goes in. I'm going to add a bit of protein now and a bit of fiber, and that is in the way of chia seeds. And I'm going to be adding into here 20 grams, which is just over half an ounce. So 0.7 of an ounce of our chia seeds go in, 20 grams. Here we go. Lovely. That's going to help to bulk this bread out. I mean, obviously really good for our gut. And I always suggest to you guys, where you can, to try and get as much chia seeds into your diet as possible, because they're so good for helping to clear out our intestines. They're really good at helping us to feel full as well. High in protein, such a great little seed to start to add into your diet if you don't already do it. So 20 grams of chia seeds go in, and then we're also going to be thinking about adding in our raising agents now. And I do find a little sieve here helps when it comes to adding in your raising agents, because we want to make sure that we don't get any lumps. And sometimes it can happen, especially if you get a lump of baking soda that hasn't quite, you know, gone throughout the mix. It can be a little bit, yeah, it's not very nice. So I'm just going to take my little sieve here and sieve all these through. So I've got half a teaspoon of baking soda goes in. See, can you see the lumps? That's right. I must have lumpy baking soda because I made something the other day and I had a lump of baking soda and I wasn't impressed. So that's a great way, great little tip. If you find that you might have a few lumps in your baking soda, definitely use a little sieve, get through it. I'm also going to be adding in 1 teaspoon of baking powder is going in there. Might as well sieve everything today when it comes to these types of things. Let's add in a little bit of gum, xanthan gum. It's going to go in there too. And for the xanthan gum, I'm adding in half a teaspoon of xanthan. Goes in there as well. Pretty happy with that. Can put that sieve to the side now. The other thing we need to think of is adding a little bit of a spice to it. And I'm adding a bit of cinnamon today. So I'm pretty happy that the cinnamon is pretty, it doesn't have any lumps. So we're going to be adding in 2 teaspoons of cinnamon powder. Because banana, cinnamon, chia, these flavors go together so incredibly well. Let's not forget a little pinch of salt. Half a teaspoon of mineral salt goes in there. And now let's consider the sweeteners that we're going to be adding. So I'm going to be putting in some erythritol. You don't have to put erythritol into here. I'm using our zero as sugar erythritol. I'll leave this up to you. Reason being is that if your bananas are really sweet, then you may find that you don't need this at all. But if you think your bananas may not be as sweet or as brown as they could be, this is a really nice touch. You don't have to add much. In fact, all I'm going to be adding into here, oh, I'm trying to zero my scales. All I'm going to be adding into here is 4 tablespoons, which is about 80 grams of erythritol is going into this. So that, I'll leave that up to you. You don't have to add it as I was saying, but it's a nice option that stays sugar-free and, you know, 0 calories as well. It's a nice option if you think your bananas may not be that sweet. I am definitely going to be adding in some inulin powder, And the reason I'm adding our Pure As Inulin powder is I want to boost the fibre content even more. So it's nice and healthy, perfect for anyone who's ever been to Bondi. You know how healthy those guys are down there on Bondi Beach. I'm adding in 4 tablespoons of our inulin powder. So we're going to boost the dietary fibre, and we're also going to create, this has now become a prebiotic as well. So it becomes super duper healthy, which of course is ideal. So all those ingredients are in there. Give it a bit of a mix. Mix it all through, just with a spoon is fine, because obviously one of the great things about when you start to bake a lot without flour, without white flour, is you don't have to worry about over mixing things, because there's no gluten. There's none of that crazy gluten in there to make things, you know, do gluey things. Because that's basically what gluten is. It's a glue. And if you overwork the flour, you can get a gluey texture. Whereas when it comes to gluten-free stuff, our almond flour, our nut flours, we don't have to worry about that at all. So I'm going to also, just to finish it off, I'm going to add a few walnuts here. They're just some raw walnuts. I've got 80 grams, which is just over 2.5 ounces of walnuts. Give them a rough chop with your knife. It's still nice to have, you know, kind of big chunks. You don't have to be too careful here. This is definitely more of a rough thing. And if you don't want to add walnuts, don't add walnuts. You know, you could also, instead of walnuts, add chocolate chips, you know, sugar-free chocolate chips. You could add coconut. It's up to you, or not. Completely up to you. But I quite like having a bit of texture of a large nut in there, you know, as we are biting through that amazing bread. So that goes in, give it a bit of a stir as well, and that is our batter for our bread done. So we need to put it into a loaf tin. I said this makes 1 loaf, this recipe. 1 really decent loaf too, by the way. So you're going to get, you know, 10, at least 10 slices of banana bread out of this. Unless, of course, you like your banana bread really thick, then you're probably going to get 8. But I normally get, you know, 10 to 12 slices, because I'm stingy and I want it to last longer. So I get 10 to 12 slices out of mine, much to the horror of the family who like thick banana bread. I'm like, hey, I'm doing the cutting, I'm doing the portioning. So scrape it all in there. It smells good already. I can smell the cinnamon, and even with just that 2 teaspoons of So what happens when you're home alone, you make a mess. Oops. I can smell the cinnamon even though I've only got 2 teaspoons in there. And the color of the banana bread has changed thanks to that fabulous cinnamon. And I'm surprised, did I get any on the camera? No, I didn't. Okay, cool. I got it everywhere in front of me. It is what, that's okay. That's all right. Okay, so that is in there now. And what I'd just like to finish this bread off with is I have some unsweetened banana chips. And why not use these unsweetened banana chips just to give it a little bit of a garnish on top. If you don't have banana chips, there's nothing stopping you from actually, you know, halving a banana and laying a whole banana in here in half. Just cut it right down the middle and lay it, or do banana slices, up to you. I quite like these, I quite like how these banana chips cook up once they're done. So this is our loaf. You can see, cool, huh? Ready to go into the oven. I have the oven set on 175 degrees Celsius, which is 340 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're gonna pop that in the oven, and that is then gonna cook for about 40 to 45 minutes, but keep an eye on it, because obviously every oven is different. You know, I always like to remind us that my oven might be hotter than yours or cooler than yours, so keep an eye on it. And if I give you a suggested cooking time of 40 minutes, I would definitely check it after 20 minutes. And what you'll be looking for is it's not getting too brown on the top. If you think it's browning way too quickly and you've still got another 20 minutes to cook the bread through, just put a little bit of baking paper or foil over the top, and that'll stop it browning, because you don't want it to be too brown. You want it to be golden. You want it to be Bondi golden on top. So 40 to 45 minutes, and the way to check it is to grab yourself a little skewer, put the skewer into the center of the bread there, and if that skewer then comes out clean, so it's got no dough attached to it, you know your bread is ready. It won't rise too much, but you'll get a nice little bit of height out of it. You'll find it won't go over the top because, you know, of the type of flour that we're using. You'll get a bit of a rise out of it, but you should also have a lovely, lovely golden color on top. So here's one I prepared earlier. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here is one I prepared earlier. Look at that. Isn't that color stunning? It is gorgeous. Another little pro tip for you. What you can do before it goes in is you can sprinkle, like icing sugar, a little bit of inulin over the top, and you'll actually get this wonderful glaze happening on it. So that's just you probably only need like half a teaspoon of sprinkled it on top with a little sieve, and you'll get this wonderful glaze from your bread. But you can see that it is just a stunning loaf, and look at that color. It is absolutely gorgeous. Now Annie has asked, is my oven gas or electric? My oven is electric. So that is a beautiful bit of bread. It is dense. So remember, this is bread. This is not cake, this is bread. So it's dense. And what's the ideal thing we do with our bread, right? Of course, we toast it. So let's toast up our banana bread. And I'm going to toast mine. Where is it? This is how we used to toast it. Look, I've got my cooktop ready to go. We used to toast our banana bread when I worked in cafes all throughout Sydney as well, running cafes here. Is we always toasted our banana bread either in like a panini grill, so a flat grill, and if we didn't have one of those, and some of the places I've worked at didn't have one of those because it was such a small kitchen, is we would literally toast our bread in a pan because we didn't want to put it into the toaster, obviously, but some cafes and restaurants don't have toasters, and they definitely don't have panini grills, but they usually always have a cooktop. So I'm going to toast my banana bread in the cooktop. Here it is. Here's a slice. That for me is quite a fat slice, as you can see. And by the way, yes, that was a whole loaf yesterday. Don't know who possibly could have eaten it, but that was a whole loaf. Oh gosh, I know. It's that good, right? But it's so good toasted. So I've just got that on. I'm not even going to put any oil into the pan. I'm not going to butter it, because of course we've got enough happening in our banana bread to mean that we don't need to do that. So I'm just going to put that on. I've got it on a medium heat. Putting it in there. This is the part that I like. Yay! And you go, oh, can you guys see this? I'm just going to pick it up. Can you see those slices of walnut? Fabulous, right? And it is such a wonderful bread texture as well. So it's very sliceable. If you're wondering whether you can freeze it, it freezes amazingly, but I would suggest that you actually freeze it in its sliced form. So slice it up and then freeze, wrap it and then freeze it that way. You can freeze it for up to 3 months, but it lasts really well. Just store it in your fridge. You can store it in your fridge for up to 5 days. But if you store it in the fridge, it's obviously going to last better. But that doesn't matter, because even if you store it in your fridge, you're still going to toast it, right? Just like you're at that lovely Bondi cafe. Oh, it smells so good in here right now. It smells really, really good. So a little bit of a toast on either side. And this is, like I said, I'm doing this without any butter. I'm doing this without any oil or anything like that, because there's enough happening within the dough of the bread, within that. Look at that, fabulous. Isn't that gorgeous? There's enough happening in there that you're going to get a lovely toast happening anyway. And if you want to pop it into your toaster, feel free to do that as well. I'll leave that up to you, but I do, maybe it's the chef in me, but I'm just so used to toasting my banana bread in a pan. I do love the smell too. And it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long. And can you put butter on it? Of course you can. Butter's going to be amazing, but it's really good on its own, just like this as well. So once you've got that little toast happening, which we have, it's looking pretty good. Pretty happy with that now. Not only do you get that lovely crusty outside, which is what so enchanted me the very first time I had banana bread in Bondi, was that wonderful outside crust that they had managed to achieve by toasting it. So once you've achieved that, not only are you getting that wonderful crust on the outside, but of course, you are also warming it up in the middle. You can see just how well it toasts up. It is just absolutely gorgeous. Oh well, so was that piece. Oh jeez, I'm having a blinder today, aren't I? Oopsie. Oh well, I'm gonna have to eat that part. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. It has been a wonderful morning. Someone asked, can you toast it in the air fryer? 100%. You can toast it in the air fryer. You can drop it on the bench. Doesn't matter. It's still gonna taste good, right? I hope you enjoyed this. My Bondi banana bread. It is absolutely fabulous. It is so incredibly good for you. And you know what? It is just perfect. It is a perfect breakfast. If you want a banana bread for breakfast, or if you're snack. But for me, this is how I'm going to be having my banana bread with my yogi tea, because the cinnamon in the yogi tea goes so well with the banana bread as well. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. As always, I will be sharing this recipe with you so you can print it out as a PDF. I'll be sharing it tomorrow on Bridget's Healthy Kitchen. To all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day for tomorrow as well. To all the fur fathers, to all the mummy fathers, to all the fathers everywhere around the world, I hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow and every day. Maybe someone might make you some banana bread, just a bit of a hint. Or maybe someone might make you cinnamon rolls, which I shared the other day as well. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your wonderful, wonderful weekend. Wherever you are in the world, stay safe and stay well. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my Facebook, subscribe to my Pinterest, and of course, subscribe to my Instagram as well for more of these wonderful, healthy, delicious, gluten-free, sugar-free, grain-free, dairy-free recipes. We will see you all on Monday. And don't forget, if you're fasting with me on Monday, I'll be posting up some information today about how we can do our extended fast together, starting on Sunday night after Father's Day dinner. Alright guys, take care, be well, see you later, bye!